And hello, high school football fans. Welcome to Burgess Snow Field here at JSU Stadium. It is springtime football time across the state of Alabama, and we are back again for this year's edition of the Gridiron Challenge, coming to you live right here on TV 24. Their great shot of Burgess Snow Field. A look at our very first game of the Gridiron Challenge, which will take place over 3 days over the next week and a half. And our first game is a good one between Minor and Oxford. I'm Mickey Shaddricks, joined by our resident expert, John Holder, and we're excited about this first game we've got coming up, John. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but first, excited about this Gridiron Challenge overall. We've got a really good mix of teams from all over the Southeast that will be playing in this event over the next week and a half.
Yeah, really, it's probably the best springtime event, not only in the Southeast, maybe in the whole country as far as spring football. We've got 38 teams, 22 games spread out over 5 days. We have teams from 3 different states. All 7 Alabama High School Athletic Association classifications will be represented here. So you get a good range of football all the way from the smallest 1A schools to the biggest of the big 7A schools over the next 5 days here at JSU Stadium.
All right, let's talk about this game, our first game of the Gridiron Challenge. Oxford and Minor, a couple of playoff teams from 6A last year. As a matter of fact, there was a time you and I thought these two teams might meet in the 6A playoffs in the North. That didn't happen. Oxford losing in the first round, Minor getting to the third round. This is a very good matchup for this challenge.
Yeah, Oxford finished 10-0 in the regular season, Minor at 9-1. These were teams that finished number 2 and number 3 respectively in the final ASWA 6A poll, and really they were upset. Oxford upset in the first round by Muscle Shoals, and then of course Minor lost to eventual state champion Ramsey in what I thought was an upset in the quarterfinals. So these are 2 of the best teams that you'll see in all of Class 6A, and they are loaded again. We'll talk more about some of the individual players coming up, but these 2 teams are loaded and expecting big things again coming up in 2017.
And before we kick it off, we'll take a look at the schedule coming up after this game. You've got Anniston and Tyner Academy out of Tennessee, New Hope and Boaz at a 7 o'clock kickoff tonight. Then on Saturday, back for some great games, a full day of action on Saturday here at JSU Stadium. It gets started with Hoover and Park Crossing. Also, you've got Hewitt Trussville and Cordova out of Tennessee. And then that'll be followed by Horseshoe Bend and Central Coosa. Then you got kind of a round robin between Spring Garden, Southeastern, and Winterboro. So we invite you to join us again on Saturday in a couple of days. Then next Saturday on the 20th, here you see the games that we have scheduled: Tarrant and Locust Fort, Pisgah and Strong. And then there'll be some more action on that day as well. So, but I think we're about ready to get this one kicked off. Minor and the Oxford Yellow Jackets here at the 2017 Gridiron Challenge. And it is a hot, steamy day here at JSU Stadium. And of course, when you get into spring football games, John, obviously the teams do not have a whole lot of practice time coming into these games. So the rules are different. We'll talk about that kind of as we go. But Oxford will have the football first from their own 35-yard line. Abe Peoples, a returning starter at quarterback, just takes a snap and takes off. Peoples has outstanding speed. He's a rising junior for Oxford, and he gained 7 yards on the first play of the game.
But if you kept up with Oxford last year, you're going to remember a lot of the names we're going to call out today because the bulk of their backfield is back. Of course, the key loss coming with Kenny Britt, the outstanding All-American high school linebacker, going to Auburn. But outside of Kenny Britt, a couple of offensive linemen, Mickey, this team is pretty much back intact. This is a loaded Oxford team heading into 2017.
And as you would expect, some big-time recruits on both of these rosters. We'll kind of talk about that as we go as well. People's pass is complete to Rock Taylor, a freshman wide receiver. Got a chance to be an outstanding multi-sport athlete at Oxford, already is, and getting his first catch this afternoon that gives the Jackets a first down out at the 47.
I think last year, Mickey, a lot of emphasis was put on the Oxford defense, and admittedly so. They only gave up 14 points a game, and of course with a Britt there linebacker, but the offense was so very talented and so very versatile last year.
And here is Titus Smith-Lindsay, returning starter at tailback. And he had a big hole up the middle, and you saw the speed and the burst that this young man has, and he is right near another first down as Oxford is quickly into Minor territory.
He had as good a year as anybody last year running the football, had a monster season. Not a lot of folks outside of Oxford knew his name last year, but he had a tremendous campaign last year, and is poised, as you can see on that first run right there, a big run up the middle for about 15 yards in the first down.
So 1st and 10 for Oxford at the minor, just inside the minor 43. Peoples going to air it out deep, and the pass is almost intercepted by Minor's Arion Thomas. It was intended for Oxford's Dave Russell, who kind of got that cleat stuck into the artificial surface here at Burgess Snowfield and couldn't quite make the needed adjustment.
Just dropped the interception over there. That was going to be an easy pickoff inside the 20-yard line. This is really the first long yardage situation we've seen Oxford in. We mentioned Oxford very balanced, and one of the things that makes them balanced, not only a great tailback, but you mentioned Peoples, a great threat at running the football on the read option.
Second down and 10 for Oxford. Here comes Minor with a blitz on the edge. Nice play call as Peoples ran inside the tackle. And there you see the speed that Oxford has at their quarterback position with junior A. Peoples, as he's got another Yellow Jacket first down.
It's almost like Peoples had a receiver inside his headset and heard me talking about his running ability, because he called his known number on this play. And you see the speed, and it's a deceptive speed, Mickey. I think a lot of folks playing Oxford for the first time, I think they have to adjust during the game to his speed, because it doesn't look like he's moving that fast, but I haven't seen anyone catch A. Peoples from behind yet.
Definitely a dual threat at that position for the Yellow Jackets again this year. 1st and 10, Oxford on the march here. Peoples slant pass over the middle to Dave Russell, pass behind him at about the 15-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 10.
One of the things, too, that was a key to Oxford's success last year was that offensive line. They lost Brett Houston. He was a pigskin roundup all-star, but, of course, they've got Clay Webb leading the way, and this is a massive, very good, very talented, very skilled offensive line returning this year for Oxford.
Clay Webb will be a junior next season and is basically, John, being recruited by every major program around.
Nick Saban in Alabama already offered him when he was in the 9th grade a full scholarship.
State wrestling heavyweight champion from this season. And here's the handoff to the fullback. That is Gabe Webb, the senior. Tries to turn the corner, the Minor team speed, able to take him down for a gain of about a yard. So 3rd and 9 upcoming for the Jackets. First 3rd and long, John, they've had in this drive.
They are within field goal range, but there will not be live kicking. They can attempt a field goal, but there won't be any rush on that. So we'll see what happens here on 3rd and 9. A lot of it will depend on what they can get here on 3rd down.
Jackets with 3 receivers split to the right of the formation. Russell split to the left. Peoples pitches it out to Lindsey. Good call, and he's in for the touchdown. So the Jackets overloaded the right side of the field with 3 receivers, did a little quick pitch to Lindsey, and they guess they had him outnumbered over there, John. It's first points of the game.
Well, that's a tough play to defend, because what it turned into, Mickey, really was an option play. That was like something out of the wishbone days. And as we know in this day and time in high school football, you just don't see option plays very much. And because they pinched down on the quarterback, it really turned into an option play, able to get outside. And he basically, number 1, takes into the end zone untouched for the touchdown.
So extra point attempt coming up for the Yellow Jackets. Extra points and field goals will be attempted with no live rush, and the extra point is good by Oxford's Zane Barbaro. So very impressive opening drive of the game here for Oxford as they march 65 yards and get the game's first points.
Well, this was a Minor team as they go on offense now. As we mentioned, 11-2 last year, lost in the quarterfinals to eventual state champion Ramsey. This was a team, Mickey, that averaged 49 points a game last year. They were a team that basically was not held under 42 points, but one time that they were held under 42 points in the entire season. They set the school record last year for points in the season, 631 points, held to a season low of 26 times. They scored over 50 points last year, Mickey. Twice over 60 points. Most prolific offense in school history. Really, you could make the case this was the best team in Minor history. They lost a lot of those guys, but they've got a lot of folks coming back, and they think they could be as good or better than they were last year on offense.
Justin McConaughey, their quarterback, number 14. Little bootleg action, gets his pass away to Ladarius Holt. Play well defended, though, for the Yellow Jackets. Defensively, a gain of, we'll give him 2 yards on the play. 2nd down and 8 coming up.
Despite an 11-2 record, the best record in Miner history, George Bates, the third-year coach, was let go at the end of the season back in January. They moved up into his place assistant coach Curtis Graves, who coached the DBs and special teams last year.
2nd down and 8. And here is the give to Dominique Ellis. Lost his footing, but really didn't have anywhere to go as the play was defended well by Oxford's Keon Fomby, the junior linebacker. So Miner right away here, John, in a 3rd and long situation. So 3rd down and 9 from the Miner 36. Conoco takes the snap, gets the pass away, and it's incomplete. Just a very good first defensive series for Oxford. It was intended for Alvin Means, one of their top receivers. By the way, they will be going without Delonte Evans with a shoulder injury.
Evans is a big-time prospect, already been offered by Louisville, Samford, Arkansas State. And Delonte Evans, 6'2", 185 pounds, their leading receiver, will be a 4-year starter. Had 30 touchdown catches last year, and he is out with a shoulder injury. Their quarterback from last year, who's the coach's son, Jacour Jackson, went on to play college football as well, and he is out. Actually, he graduated. So there's obviously some timing connection issues there. You got a brand new quarterback who's playing for the first time. You lost 3 of your 4 wide receivers, and that 4th wide receiver, Mickey, who's coming back, he's out with an injury. So you basically, in the passing game, Miners without their starting quarterback from last year and without any of their top 4 receivers. So obviously here in the spring game with only 10 practices, and this counts as one of the 10 days, this game, only 9 before that, it's going to be tough to generate much offense with so many new faces.
Good look at junior Abe Peoples. Had a very good first series for the Jackets. A couple of big runs to keep the drive alive. Oxford back with it 1st and 10 at the 30 after the 35-yard mark off. No live punting, so 35 yards is how they mark the football, and Oxford will pick up a good gain on 1st down here as Lindsey crosses the 35, a gain of 6.
A little option play there and picks up big yards once again. They're having some trouble with that. Is Miner defending that? And we thought that the Oxford Sound of Champions band was planning on being here tonight. A little late in arriving, but they are here as they sound off with Champions down there, letting folks know they're in the stadium.
2nd down and 4. Here's the give to Lindsey. Slams in there over the left side, close to 1st down yardage. Going to be just short, I believe about a yard short, as a tackle was made by Ja'Cory Goodwin. And John, I can already tell as we see the Oxford band, they've made it in and they're performing now. Oxford is controlling the line of scrimmage early in this game on both sides of the football.
And that's a very big and physical and athletic. These are not just big guys, but you look at that offensive line right there. There's a lot of athletes on that front line too for Oxford.
3rd down and short. And a little wildcat with the fullback. 1st down yardage for Gabe Webb as he picks up big yardage out to the midfield stripe. Jackets maintain possession, 1st and 10.
Oxford, so many weapons in the run game. We talked about A. Peoples, who really is another running back at the quarterback position, his speed. Then you've got Smith Lindsey, a great tailback he's proven. And now you come back in with a pretty good looking fullback who gives you a little power in the run game, Mickey.
Nice job of breaking it outside there as Miner had shut down the A and B gaps. He just took it out and picked up big yardage. 1st down at the 50. Peoples throws it quickly and completes it to Dave Russell. They've tried a couple of times to hook up. That's their first completion of the game, and it's a good one of 6 yards.
Russell, an upcoming senior wide receiver. Didn't get a whole lot of yards that time, but you can see a strong guy caught the pass and then able to shake a couple of defenders before finally being dragged down. And again, about a 6-yard gain there. So Oxford's offense looks to be in mid-season form. They have looked good really on every play so far.
Good defensive series as well. 3 and out against the Miner offense. Here is Lindsey, and this is really the first time they've held him in check, but Lindsey still with 2nd effort able to spin forward for almost 3 yards, which will make it a 3rd and short once again. Oxford converted on 3rd and 1 just a moment ago. They'll be in that same situation here at the Miner 41.
Minor did a good job that time of finally closing the gap. A high pitch a little bit, threw off the timing. Minor closed the gap there, but again, tough running inside by Smith Lindsey.
3rd and 1. Wildcat once again. Same play call and same result as Webb will push the pile inside the 35 for another Oxford first down.
Yeah, Oxford going to be really tough to stop. They've got a good inside game going with a big guy Webb taking up inside to complement Lindsey with the speed on the outside. And then you got Peoples who runs that read option to perfection with his speed on the outside just in the running game, not even counting what they might be able to generate in the passing game. Their running game is going to be pretty tough to stop.
So a couple of 3rd down conversions thanks to that young man and his line up front paving the way for him as Gabe Webb converting on 2 3rd and 1s to keep this drive going. Little bootleg action. Peoples avoids the pressure, and look at him find the fullback out in the flat for another big gain as Webb showing off his receiving skills here, John, as he's got it down to the Minor 16.
Mickey, in any era of football, but especially in this day and time, if you've got a big fullback who can catch the football out of the backfield, that may be the most dangerous weapon in modern day football, because most folks don't employ a fullback. When you've got a fullback that can catch the football out of the backfield, it spreads the defense. These defenses are spread even more. Oxford lined up with 4 wide receivers that time, and then you've basically got a 5th guy coming out of the backfield, and you got to put a linebacker on him. That's tough to stop.
First down, here is Lindsey. Cuts it up inside and has close to 10 yards on this carry. I tell you, John, this is, you mentioned it, this is impressive to have so few practices here in the spring. Come out here in this venue against one of the top teams in 6A from last year with a lot of returning players. Oxford is executing very well here early in this game.
And you look at the size of that Minor defensive front there. This was supposed to be one of the strengths of the team, is they had about 3 or 4 defensive linemen that were huge, all well over 220, 230 pounds that were back this year. They lost their all-state defensive lineman, but they had everybody else back.
1st and goal, they give it to Lindsey right up the middle behind that big surge from his offensive line, and it is going to be marked just short of the goal line, so 2nd and inches away from a touchdown.
Well, if you look at the inside there and you see the size of that Minor defensive front, they go 245, 320, 218, and 220 on that front line. It's a big defensive line, but Oxford's manhandling them right now here in this first quarter.
And now we've got the officials blowing the whistle and some type of stoppage in play. They're going to move the football over to the left hash. By the way, as part of the rules, as we'll continue to talk about those throughout the Gridiron Challenge, both teams get 1 timeout per quarter. These 2 quarters make up each game here this evening. Lindsey walks in untouched for the touchdown. So Titus Lindsey with another big hole to run through, and he's got 2 touchdowns here in this first quarter. Back-to-back possessions, back-to-back touchdowns here for the Jackets.
I can't find fault anywhere with Oxford's offense whatsoever. They have been, I mean, we talk about midseason form, but I mean, keep in mind they only had 9 practices up until today, and to look like this against a talented team like Minor, most impressive. And defensively, as you mentioned, Minor 3 and out the first time also.
And this extra point, there we see number 98 attempting this one, and no good, so it'll be 13-0. That is Reyes on the attempt. You know, and even the play calling impressive. You know, some really good imagination here on the first couple of series. And Oxford really has just had this Minor defense back on their heels here early in this game.
Minor trying to get something going offensively as we've got a stoppage in play here. We'll put the ball in action. We'll Minor at the 35-yard line. But new coach Curtis Graves, we mentioned he was an assistant last year. His son was the quarterback last year. He's got another son on the team that is a wide receiver this year. That is Jacoby Graves. He is a 6'1", 170-pound defensive back. So we take a look there at Ryan Herring. Playoffs 3 of the 4 seasons, 10-0 last year, and a good career record at Oxford in his 5th year. Actually, going back to some of the years he had at Lincoln and Shelby County, his overall career record 74-48.
All right, here's Minor back on offense after a 3 and out on their first offensive series. Let's see if they can get anything going here late in the first quarter. And the handoff to Ladarius Holt, and he is taken off his feet after another short gain. Play defended well that time by the Yellow Jackets. Danico Tanner, rising junior linebacker.
Coach Graves, even though he was on the staff last year, they're changing their offense. Last year they kind of ran a fun and gun. They were wide open, throwing the ball downfield, a wide open passing offense. Now they're switching to more of a power run game. And he says we may not be as flashy as we were last year, but he thinks that they have the potential to be better. You can certainly see the talent. They've got a big offensive line and certainly some talented skill people, but right now in May, after only 9 practices under a new coach and running basically a new offense, the offense so far is not clicking.
And we've got a timeout on the field by Minor. So 3:22 left here in our first quarter. Oxford, it has been all Oxford here in this one. They lead it 13-0. Back to JSU Stadium after this timeout.
Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Tim Hodges, Fred Wilson, Don Hudson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. With our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums, our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly supports the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You'll be glad you did.
Join us May 19th and 20th for the Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. Come experience Alabama's largest in-water boat show. Test drive pontoons from Bennington, Sun Tracker, Silver Wave, South Bay Regency, and Avalon. Fishing boats from Tracker, Nitro, Express, and Challenger. And personal watercraft from Sea-Doo. Weekend events include fireworks, live music, vendors, and giveaways, including a brand new lake-ready Sun Tracker pontoon boat. May 19th and 20th in Pell City. We'll see you on the lake.
And we are back at the Gridiron Challenge. 2nd down and 8 for Minor. Give up the middle. Not much running room for Dominique Ellis as Minor continued struggle here offensively. This is their 2nd possession, a 3 and out on their 1st possession. And now, John, here they are again, 3rd and long.
They're expecting big things out of Dominique Ellis. He's a rising junior, big guy, 5'10", 225 pounds, and they really think he's going to be one of the top running backs in the Birmingham Metro this year.
Let's see what Minor comes up with on 3rd and long. McConico, the quarterback. Flag before the snap. Looks like we're going to have an offensive penalty here against Minor, which will make this down even more difficult.
Not to take anything away from Oxford's offense last year, but when you thought about Oxford football, I think you thought about their defense. They were so good, giving up only 14 points a game. And in this era of high-powered offenses, especially at the big school level, the 6A level, to give up only an average of 14 points a game was very impressive at Oxford. And it looks like their defense is going to be just as good. You compare that with an explosive offense. They averaged 34 points a game last year on offense with a lot of experience coming back. This was a young Oxford team last year, but you combine that experience, this is going to be a dangerous Oxford team in 2017.
It was an offsides penalty against Oxford, making it 3rd and 3. McConico still unable to get the 1st down as defensive tackle Blake Carter, the senior, slammed in and just took him off his feet. Very physical play there at the 42, so Minor couldn't take advantage of the 5-yard penalty, get the 1st down, so it's 4th and 2, and John, they're leaving their offense out there.
Well, they've got a big offensive line, but that has not fared very well against this Oxford defense. They've not been able to open many holes there whatsoever. So we'll see what they do here in the spring. He's trying to establish, Coach Graves is from Miners, we talked about trying to establish a power running game. So I think he feels like, hey, spring game, taking on a good defense like Oxford, here's a chance to test out that power run game. 4th and really about 3 on this play.
Tanner coming in from the backside and sacks McConico at the 31-yard line. Junior Danico Tanner's got a lot of speed off the edge, and he showed it there as McConico needed a little more time for the route to develop, and he just didn't have it. There you see Tanner, number 21.
Just came unblocked. No one picked him up on Minor. I don't think they even knew number 21 was out there. He came untouched with a lot of speed, as you said. And really the ball came loose, but they say he was already down. But Oxford with great field position at the 31-yard line. And Oxford has been flawless so far on offense. Maybe one deep pass that was almost intercepted, about the only fault you can find on the Oxford offense in the first 2 possessions.
And they're going to get it in great field position after Minor went for it and did not make it. So first down at the tenacious Tiger 31-yard line. Peoples, a little play action on first down. Gets it away, and it's caught by Russell. Knocked out of bounds after the catch, but they'll mark him in at about the 13-yard line. So for the second time in this game, A. Peoples and Dave Russell connect on a big pass play.
Mick, you can kind of see that A. Peoples is kind of looking in the direction of Dave Russell. It kind of looks like they have established a connection. That might be, we might see the beginnings here of that being his go-to receiver in 2017.
That's his 4th time he's thrown to him, and he's completed 2 of them. Good look at number 4, Dave Russell there. 1st and 10 inside the Minor 14. Oxford looking for more points. And big defensive play that time by Minor's Nigel Broom as he stopped the Oxford running back Richard Cantrell for a loss behind the line of scrimmage.
Broom, a 5'9", 180-pounder, played strong safety last year, moving up to outside linebacker this year for Minor. There's a flag on the play. First negative yardage play we've seen for Oxford with almost a quarter in the books.
And this appears to be going against the offense as the Oxford players are backing up. Holding call against Oxford. You know, this is a spring game, obviously, but you know, if you're a Minor, you don't want this thing to get too lopsided against you, and they'd love to keep the Jackets out of the end zone here, already down 13-0.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks, you talk about spring football, what can, from a fan standpoint, what can a fan pick up on in the spring? Not a lot of X's and O's and things like that, but what you can get a good grasp of is the talent level. And both of these teams, Mick, you can see the talent level is as good as anybody in 6A.
So first down, Oxford would need to take it all the way inside the 4 to get a first down. Peoples throws it down the sideline. Russell had his hands on it, but could not haul it in as had bracketed coverage back there for Minor. Number 42, Arion Thomas, able to break up the play.
We talk about A. People's legs, but look at the arm here. He's throwing into double coverage, and he put that ball at the only spot that his receiver, Dave Russell, could go and get it. A beautifully thrown pass by A. Peoples that time.
Once again, Oxford snaps it from the 20, just inside the 24. Second down and 20. Peoples with some time now trying to get out of the pocket, but he's run down from behind. Good speed, good closing speed by Minor's Caleb Coleman.
Coleman is 5'10", 225 pounds. He's a rising junior, means he's only in the 10th grade, but we talked about that talent level of Minor. There's a good example of it right there. I mean, A. Peoples is this is a guy that has as good a speed as any quarterback you'll see at any level of high school football, and he was just run down from behind by Caleb Coleman that time.
So 3rd down and long for Oxford. Three receivers split to the right. Once again, here comes a blitz up the middle. Peoples running for his life, passes away and incomplete. It was intended for Cantrell, but Peoples just had no time as Minor's Nigel Broom was bearing down on him in the backfield.
That's the second time we've seen Broom come off the corner that time. So we're starting to see this Minor defense kind of rise to the occasion, and they've got some outstanding speed coming off those corners. So when you start talking about Caleb Coleman and Nigel Broom and those guys, there's unbelievable speed coming off those ends and outside linebacker positions for Minor.
So the Jackets will attempt a 41-yard field goal. This is Zane Barbaro out of a hold from Caden Higgins. Again, the kicking is not live, so there'll be no rush. So really got nothing to lose. Give your field goal kicker a chance to kick one in this environment. And distance was there, but missed it wide left. So Minor really needed that defensively. That's the first time they've stopped Oxford. Jackets scoring touchdowns on their first 2 possessions. So we are very late in this first quarter, essentially the first half. 20 seconds left in the quarter. Minor takes over at their own 35. And there you see Lee Osmond working with the Oxford defense. Of course, longtime head coach at Glencoe High School, back for his 2nd season as an assistant at Oxford.
Not a surprise that Oxford was very good on defense last year with Lee Osmond over there on the defensive side. after the missed field goal, the ball will go all the way back to the 20-yard
line. The 20-yard line. So Minor, let's see if they can get something going offensively after their defense gives them the ball back. McConaughey hands off to Holt, and just nowhere to run as the Oxford defense just holding at the point of attack, the line of scrimmage.
Well, we saw Minor on defense in that last possession be a little bit more aggressive defensively. They brought a few more blitz, pressuring down from the ends and outside linebackers. I thought we might see them be a little bit more aggressive on offense, but I think Coach Gray's really trying to establish that power run game, but Oxford just not having any of it.
And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. Oxford looking good here against Minor at the Gridiron Challenge as they have a 13-0 lead.
Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Tim Hodges, Fred Wilson, Don Hudson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. With our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums, our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly supports the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You'll be glad you did.
Join us May 19th and 20th for the Logan Martin Lake Fest and Boat Show, presented by America's First Federal Credit Union. Come experience Alabama's largest in-water boat show. Test drive pontoons from Bennington, Sun Tracker, Silver Wave, South Bay Regency, and Avalon. Fishing boats from Tracker, Nitro, Express, and Challenger. And personal watercraft from Sea-Doo. Weekend events include fireworks, live music, vendors, and giveaways, including a brand new lake-ready Sun Tracker pontoon boat. May 19th and 20th in Pell City. We'll see you on the lake.
I was finally ready to buy my first home after renting for the last several years. As I started my search, I got overwhelmed by how many websites and confusing listings there are. That's when I found the experts at ERA King. To me, ERA means expertise, reliability, and activity. I depended on them to find a home in my budget, and they didn't stop working until the keys were in my hands. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Huge hailstorm equals huge savings at Buster Miles Ford in Heflin. Come experience a stress-free buying process during our hail sale and save thousands. Over 300 vehicles must go. The damage so small on some and savings so big on others. We have brought the professionals in to fix the cars right. Work has begun for our loss and your gain. Come take advantage of these savings, hopefully never to be seen again. Buster Miles Ford in Heflin off I-20, exit 199. The difference worth driving since 1947.
And we are back at the Gridiron Challenge. Oxford getting off to a fantastic start here against Minor. Titus Lindsay with a couple of touchdowns on consecutive drives to begin the game for the Yellow Jackets. Only blemish on their performance here in this first half is one missed extra point. So Oxford leads at 13-0 on what is turning into a nice evening here in Jacksonville, Alabama. Good shot outside JSU Stadium as we are here for the first game of the 2017 Gridiron Challenge. Mickey Shadricks and John Holder with you. Gerhard Mathangani down on the sidelines, and hope to get a word with both coaches after this next quarter, because that will pretty much wrap up this game. 2 12-minute quarters is what we're playing for our games tonight. Coming up next, you've got Anniston and Tyner, Tennessee. Then third game, New Hope and Boaz. All those games live right here on TV 24.
Well, the officials started off between quarters putting the ball at the 20. They moved it back up to the 35, and then they decided to move it back to the 21. So that's where we're going to go on 2nd and 9. They'll not treat it like a half, they'll treat it like a quarter and continue play.
And here is Holt. Scorched through there, and that's about the best run from scrimmage I think the Tigers have had here in this game, as Holt picks up 6 yards across the 25-yard line.
Oxford fans are used to number 10 in black knocking heads because that was Kenny Britt for so many years. But that time it was a different number 10, Keon Fomby, with a big hit that time. It looked like that was going to be a big gain for Minor as Holt was loose, but Fomby knocked him down after about a 5-yard gain.
2nd down and 4 for the Tigers. Bunch set to the left. And McConaughey fakes, rolling, looking to his right. Throws downfield, bad decision, and he should have been picked off. Jordan Swain was just standing there in center field waiting on it, and that may have been a too easy of an interception, because Swain just would love to have this one back.
Well, Minor and Oxford are 1-1. Minor dropped an easy one, equally as easy as that one, and now Oxford's dropped once. They're 1-1 on drop picks.
And Minor will not go for it here, so they'll punt, which means the officials will mark it off 35 yards. Oxford will get very good field position at their own 39 as they get it for the first time here in the second quarter with a 13-0 lead.
I think once Minor gets their offense going and gets a little experience and gets adjusted to this new offense they're running, the talent's there. I think they're going to be a tough out. And obviously, from what we're seeing from Oxford, they were 10-0 last year in the regular season, Mickey. And I'm telling you that they are going to be a really tough out again this fall, this for sure.
They really have, their offensive line could really be dominating this season. We mentioned Clay Well. They've also got Ahmad Simmons and Ridge Hayden. They've got some really good, big physical guys up front with a lot of talent at running back and receiver, experience coming back at quarterback. This Oxford offense definitely has a lot of potential for 2017. There you see Richard Cantrell picking up about 5 yards to the 43, maybe 44. And Titus Lindsay with those 2 early touchdowns. He may not get much more action here in this game.
Mick, you were talking about that offensive line. If you look at 75 there, that's Webb. 73 is Simmons. Massive guys. And as Coach Herring has talked about, he says Webb's just a road grader. And watch these 2 guys. They are absolutely plowing the field out there today.
Second down, handoff to Cantrell. And he's across the 45 to the 46. It'll set up 3rd and 3 for Oxford.
Been isolating, watching Webb on some of these plays, and you see exactly why Coach Herring talks about him being a road grader. Once he locks up on you, it's one of those deals where he's pushing you 10, 12 yards down the field. And he's doing this against big guys on this Minor defensive front.
3rd down and 3. Peoples runs the option, keeps it himself, and gets enough. He's tripped up by Minor's Declarius Leonard, but he's got the first down at midfield. Gerhard Mathangani is with us, as I said earlier, down on the field. He's standing by with a special guest.
Hey guys, I'm here with Chris Rogers, former Alabama player. He's here for a very, very interesting thing. First of all, we want to talk about your high school and your college days. You know life of these guys right here that are training in high school football and then went on to that are looking to go on to the college level like you did. Talk about your days as an athlete.
Well, it's all start right here on the football field. I mean, I'm in my spring game, had 20 colleges there, and it changed my life. So somebody today, life's going to be changed because of the way they're playing on the football field.
Absolutely. You played at Alabama. You had a national championship ring on. Show everybody just so they can see that. He has a lot of experience as it relates to and what you have right now is a student athlete program and a package, a special player development package.
Yes, right now we have so many young athletes that are talented on the football field, but character developing, the things they're posting on social media, and the financial literacy piece. So what we decided to do is design a curriculum right here, Beyond the Field, Athlete's Guide to Greatness. Please go to our website, check it out. Parents, kids understand how to get themselves recruited. It's a how-to guide.
Absolutely. One of the things that we talked about off camera just a minute ago, it's everything. It's really cumulative. It has everything from what recruits look for from a GPA standpoint, how to players conduct themselves on social media, and it's really everything on the field and off the field as far as the development goes.
Yes, because right now, no college coach is going to put $140,000 into a kid without knowing what kind of character he is. So right now, these kids got to understand they're more than just athletes. So with our program, we're trying to bring it live to you, and I'll be here all week. And the coaches come meet me, parents can buy a copy of the book. Like I said, please visit the website, athletesgreatness.com, pick up your copy, and roll tide.
Absolutely. Athletesgreatness.com is where you pick it up. I have one more question for you as far as it relates to your playing days. What do you miss as far as being on the field, being with your teammates, and everything that helped you now develop an appreciation for what you're doing and all the energy that you're putting into now with player development?
Well, one thing I tell people, playing for Coach Sabe, the many days running the bleachers, the hours, if you just can take that much energy in the fans, you miss the fans. But more importantly, I took the work ethic from the football field and transitioned that to my own company now, and that's why we wrote this curriculum. So definitely Coach Sabe. I miss Coach Sabe. I miss the Alabama winning championship. So yeah, those hard work.
Absolutely. Athletes greatness is where you go to be able to pick up this. It's a very, very valuable tool, not only for players, but for parents as well. And you'll be here at JSU's Burgess Snow Field to answer some questions and whatnot. Chris, really, really appreciate your time and your insight. Guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Gerhard. Timeout on the field. We'll take a break as well. Oxford leading Minor 13-0.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Huge hailstorm equals huge savings at Buster Moss Ford in Heflin. Come experience a stress-free buying process during our hail sale and save thousands. Over 300 vehicles must go. The damage so small on some and savings so big on others. We have brought the professionals in to fix the cars right. Work has begun for our loss and your gain. Come take advantage of these savings, hopefully never to be seen again. Buster Miles Ford in Heflin, off I-20, exit 199. The difference worth driving since 1947.
And we are back at JSU Stadium. 2017 Gridiron Challenge continues now as we are into the second quarter. Oxford leading Minor 13-0. 4th down and 2. Oxford will go for it. Little wildcat play they've had some success with on short yardage, but not this time as Gabe Webb is stacked up by a host of tenacious Tigers, including Demetrius Hubbard. So the Minor defense seems now they're kind of getting their footing under them a little bit, John. They just need their offense to help them out a little bit.
Well, they crashed everybody. They brought everybody. They had 9 guys in the box that time, really almost 10 as they brought up another one of the DBs when the ball was snapped. So really, they were selling out totally for the run that time and were able to stop Oxford really for the first time today as far as in short yardage situations to get the ball back. And be interesting to see now. I've kind of been expecting Minor to maybe open things up a little bit offensively, but it may be one of those situations where Coach Curtis Graves just wants to really get more reps in with this new power offense, this power running offense, and not worrying about the throwing game here. But right now they have not been able to run the ball with really any success against Oxford so far this afternoon.
1st and 10, they've got it at their own 41. McConico gives it to Ellis. Good second effort. He's going to give him forward progress to the 45. Even though the pile is moving backwards, it's going to be a gain of 4 for Minor.
Well, we mentioned Ellis being a big back at 225 pounds. Keep in mind, he's just an upcoming junior. And we're seeing now why folks feel like he's going to be the next big star at Minor. That time wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, but then carrying 2 or 3 Oxford guys for a ride. He's a very big physical back. Like to see him maybe in the open field and see what he can do.
Good job of plugging the hole by Danico Tanner. They'll spot him back at the 44, so we'll call it a gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Conoco hands it off the middle. Big hole for Holt. And that is by far the best run from scrimmage for Minor here in this game as they're in Oxford territory inside the 40.
Going to wind up getting a 16-yard gain that time. Big hole, 2 or 3 big holes. Great job by the Minor offensive line opening up the whole left side of that line over there against Oxford's D.
Minor goes in a hurry. 1st and 10. This is Ellis. And he is gang tackled at the 37 after a short gain. Oxford getting a lot of hats to the football here.
This is a marked difference in Minor's offense. Last year, as we mentioned, they were a fun and gun type team that threw the ball, had a great running back, had 4 fantastic receivers, and this year they have decided to go with a big back in the backfield and run the ball down your throat.
2nd down. Holt up the middle, not much this time. Taken down at the 35. And tackle made that time by linebacker Kendall McCollum, upcoming junior. So we've got a 3rd down coming up now for Minor. They'll need 5 yards. And obviously, I'm sure in 4-down territory here, down by 13.
Their only returning receiver, Delonte Evans, as we mentioned, out with a shoulder injury. The number 5 receiver, the only other guy with any experience, is Alvin Means. He was the number 5 receiver last year. Had 126 yards receiving, only 4 catches, had a 67-yard touchdown reception against Clay Chalkville, but they're expecting big things from him.
Timeout taken by Oxford. We'll take the timeout as well. We'll continue with our live coverage of the Gridiron Challenge in just a moment.
Water is in a bit of trouble. Suspected of carrying harmful pollutants into community storm drains, stormwater faces a serious problem. When it rains, dirt, motor oil, excess fertilizer, and trash are washed into rivers, lakes, and streams. And a clean raindrop becomes an unwilling accomplice in the problem of water pollution. It's up to each of us to do our part. Visit cleanwatercampaign.com to learn more. Help protect our water.
When it comes to great tasting barbecue, nobody does it better than Dad's Barbecue. Dad's Barbecue is slow hickory cooked to perfection, and Dad's menu includes a wide selection of popular items such as our smoked chicken sandwich, ribs, salads, and the best chicken fingers in town. And Dad's offers fresh homemade hamburgers and hand-dipped ice cream shakes. Dad's utilizes the latest technology to ensure that your orders are always accurate and hot out of the kitchen. Family owned and operated since 1985, Dad's Barbecue, with 2 locations in Anniston to serve you.
Yes, nice breeze here at JSU Stadium. Keeping things cool here. Temperatures into the 80s today in Northeast Alabama. 3rd down and 5. McConaughey's pass is incomplete. It was a little high and behind the intended receiver, Chris Charleston. So it'll be 4th down. So Minor will have a decision to make here at the Oxford 35. And I'm sure they will go ahead and take a shot at it.
Just kind of have the feeling that if Minor can get it together, if they can put all the pieces in place, they have got the talent here to, I can understand why Coach Graves is talking about that they think they can be better than last year. If they can grasp this offense, buy into it, and kind of develop over the summer and into the early part of the season, the talent's there for Minor to have another kind of season like they did last year.
See if they can keep the drive going. McConaughey's pass is almost picked off by Kendall McCallum, who stepped into the flight of that football. So Oxford's defense holds, and the Jacket offense will take over 1st down. Coming up next, our next game, there you see the Anniston Bulldogs outside the stadium going through some warm-ups as they will take on Tyner out of Tennessee. And John, what do you think about that matchup?
It should be good. This Tyner Academy team is it's a magnet school from the Metro Chattanooga area in the Hamilton County school system. It's a team that's got a coach who's been there, Wayne Turner, 27 years. The stadium is named after him. He's won over 200 games in the time that he's been at Tyner, so obviously they're used to success. So it ought to be a good matchup coming up here in just a few moments.
Cantrell, huge hole, still on his feet across the 50. Minor still can't tackle him. Still on his feet. Unbelievable effort by Cantrell. It's a foot race, and he's going to score. What a run, and we've got a couple of Minor players injured back toward the middle of the field. But what an effort by Richard Cantrell.
If this was the regular season, Mickey, this would probably be the play of the year. This might be our Bolton Chiropractic play of the impact play of the year on Pigskin Roundup. How many white jerseys had their hands on him at one time? I'm going to say that virtually every Minor player touched him at some point during that run. That is as good of a run as we have ever seen. Too bad it's not going to be in the regular season, but look at that. There's 4, there's 5, there's 6 players that had a hand. Here's number 7. Here comes another, well, that's the same guy. There's number 8. There's number 9. And the last guy was in pursuit. I don't think he ever got a hand on him. We'll count that as 10 because he was in hot pursuit. But we will say 10 of the 11 Minor players had a shot at him during that run. Outstanding run by Cantrell.
Cantrell just would not be denied. So you look at that young man and Titus Lindsay. Oxford with a couple of good options out of the backfield for this upcoming season. And again, we mentioned a couple of injuries, and you hate to see that in spring games. There you see number 25 for Minor, Cornell Richardson, and he is being helped to his feet. And Like he's favoring his right leg.
Great sportsmanship by Oxford. Not only the entire team taking a knee, but the cheerleaders over there, the band went silent. They had 2 players hurt. The first one was about the 40-yard line. He got up pretty quickly, but that young man right there, number 25, Cornell Richardson, he laid on the ground for a long time, and he looks like he's in pretty tough shape. They'll take him over to the training table on the visitor sideline here at JSU Stadium.
So there's number 97, Barbaro, in to attempt the extra point for Oxford. They get the hold down, and the kick is up, and it's good. So Jackets extend their lead now in this one to 20-0 over Minor with 5:38 left in this game.
You know, last year, Mickey, in the spring Gridiron Challenge here at JSU, Oxford played Ray County, Tennessee, and actually lost that game to Ray County last year. And Oxford, to be honest with you, in the spring game last year, didn't look all that hot, and they wound up going 10-0. So if you're an Oxford fan, you're thinking, wow, if we look this good in May, what kind of season are we going to have this year? I think that if I'm an Oxford fan, Mickey, I would be tremendously excited this summer about the future of Oxford football, because this has been a very, very impressive performance against a good team and a good program.
Well, you know, Minor would love to have something to show offensively, John, on the scoreboard. In this one, they've got 5:38 left, and they've got the football back now at their 35. And McConico still in there at quarterback, as is Holt, the running back, as is linebacker Kendall McCollum, who makes another play for Oxford. There you see him, number 23. Good speed to the ball. I'm really impressed with the team speed of Oxford. They gang tackle. They get a lot of players around the ball carrier, and they've looked good against this Minor offense.
Minor keeps trying to establish the run game, and Oxford just having none of that. As Oxford, I don't really see a weakness. The kicking game looks good. From what we've seen so far, haven't seen any punting, but the place kicking looks very good. The offense looks good. The defense looks good. I don't really see any weaknesses on this Oxford team.
Second down and 11. This is Ellis. Again, nothing doing. Maybe a yard. And again, 3 or 4 Oxford players right around the ball carrier. That time including number 90, Shane Denham. So it'll be 3rd and long for Minor.
This is a matchup of 2 teams that won region titles last year. Oxford, the Region 7 champions in 6A. And Minor was the Region 6 champions in 6A. And I don't see anything from either one of these teams that tells me they're not going to be at the very top of their respective regions again, especially in Oxford's case. The opponents in Class 6A Region 7 probably watching this right now, and they have probably got a lot of heartburn watching how good this Oxford team looks right here in May.
Minor setting up the screen pass to Ellis, and good hard running by Ellis. He almost got there, but he's going to be about 1 yard short. He needed to get to the 45. They're going to put him down at the 44. So 4th down. So Minor possibly their last possession if Oxford's able to play keep away when they get the ball back. So Minor's going to go ahead and go for it on 4th and 1 and try to keep this drive alive.
Last 4th down was a play action. Let's see what they do on this 4th down.
Well, they would have had it. However, they flagged before the play.
Mickey, talking about the upcoming 2017 season, I think we'll have some schedules to look at and kind of break down and analyze for both of these teams before the game is over. But obviously they've got some tough opponents there, especially a Minor schedule. They play in a really rugged region in there. There's Oxford's schedule right there. Change. They opened up last year with Talladega. There's been a big wholesale change, and now Talladega's off the schedule. Talladega is actually going to play Alexandria that night. And now Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, great program out of 6A. They are going to be coming up and playing at Oxford on that week 0, August 25th. Then there's the big matchup, probably the premier game on the schedule. September 1st, Gadsden City comes to Lamar Field. Then region play with Brewer, Coleman, Albertville. The tough game as always at Ben Russell. And then back to region play before closing out with Sumter Central.
And another big play by the Oxford defense is Minor Only a couple of times that they've had really any success running the football. They lose a couple of yards here back to the 48-yard line.
As always, anytime Oxford and Gadsden City play, the two largest schools in East Alabama, when they get together, it's always an exciting event, and it will be this time. A new head coach at Gadsden City, only their third coach in school history. Bart Sessions, former great coach down at McGill, Tulane, and Mobile, coming up from Tuscaloosa County, will bring his team to Lamar Field. And that, again, ought to be a marquee matchup between Gadsden City and Oxford.
2nd and 11, McConico, who has gone the distance at quarterback, finally, with a nice play in the passing game, is going up to grab that one was Alvin Means, and that's a big play for Minor. First down inside Oxford's 35-yard line.
That's a guy we heard a lot about. This is the guy that is supposed to be the next go-to guy as far as wide receiver at Minor. You know, last year, Jalen Adams signed with Southern Mississippi, and he was the only player in the state of Alabama to be a parade All-American. And they lost him, went to Southern Mississippi, and this is the guy they think might be the next Jalen Adams. And Alvin Means, 5'9", you see him there, number 82, 5'9", 165, just a rising junior. Again, he was the number 5 receiver last year, but they expect him to probably rise up and be their number 2 guy along with Delonte Evans this fall.
You see the illegal block erasing the big play in the passing game, so instead of having it at the Oxford 30, Minor now will scrimmage from their own 27, 2nd down and very long. As we reach the 2-minute mark of the game. McConico's pass intended once again for number 82, Alvin Means, but Means could not haul this one in.
Minor just not taking any shots down the field. They're going with these slip screen passes, and Oxford's defenders are just sitting down on those routes and challenging every one of those short passes. It will be another situation where it's 3rd and long, 3rd and forever right now for Minor. They're on the 27-yard line, and they've got to go to the 49. So 3rd down and a little more than 22 for the first down.
There's McConico. Again, he's played the entire game at quarterback for the Tigers. Gets it over the middle, and he had Ellis. The pass was a little behind him, but Ellis should have pulled that one in. And had he been able to, he would have had a good bit of running room. But instead, it's incomplete and 4th down.
Ellis would have had the first down. He was so wide open. He was going to get another 15 or 20 yards to get the first, and maybe a whole lot more than that. Mickey, you talk about a marquee matchup. We talked about that Gadsden City-Oxford game in week number 2 of the season down at Lamar Field. That's a matchup of a team in Oxford that went 10-0 last year in the regular season, and a Gadsden City team that went to the 7A semifinals last year. So you're talking about teams that were the tops in 6A and the tops in 7A last year, and of course Oxford went in last year, and that was a monumental win. I think it's probably the biggest win for Oxford last year was that upset at the time that they had over at Titan Stadium, 22-12 I think it was, that they won in that game, so 22-10. So that was a big win. You know, Gadsden City will come in with a new coach and trying to exact some revenge. That'll be a huge packed house and a big game down at Lamar Field September the 1st.
Cantrell, huge hole. This time Minor does wrap him up, but not before Cantrell has himself 15 yards out to the Minor 49.
That's one of the things we're starting to see from Oxford. They were a young team last year, so maybe depth was not a big deal. Depth is going to be a very big deal this year because they've got some guys we've seen already today with Cantrell and Smith, Lindsey, and of course Webb in the backfield. We've seen 3 running backs. Peoples really, in my mind, makes 4 running backs that can play. This is a team that's starting to develop a lot of depth. Now if these young guys are maturing, this is a team that's not only very good and talented, but they got a lot of depth as well.
And we should mention that freshman Trey Higgins, who checked in the game a couple of series ago, is now in at quarterback. So looks as though the Jackets' backup quarterback to Peoples will be a freshman in Trey Higgins. Got a flag before the snap here.
Obviously some new players coming in there, with some of these new players on both sides starting to get a few more penalties, some offsides, illegal motions, some things like that. New Hope Indians, that's the team we'll see coming up later on tonight. They'll take on Boaz. Both teams, New Hope and Boaz, with new head football coaches. Jeremy Sullivan, a JSU All-American lineman, the new coach at Boaz, and Kenny Chadwick, coming over from Fort Payne, is the new head coach at New Hope.
Higgins gets the pass away. It is complete. And let's see, I think that was Jordan Booker, number 5 for Oxford. Higgins had some pressure right in his face and delivered a strike there to Booker.
Booker almost took that to the house. If not for that shoestring tackle, really tripped up there at about the 30-yard line, he might have scored on that play.
So 37 seconds as the Jackets break huddle. First down at the 30. Higgins fakes, got pressure in his face, does a good job of breaking that tackle behind the line of scrimmage and taken off his feet at the 30-yard line by Minor's Nigel Broom, who's had a number of tackles in this game. So basically a gain of about a half yard. It'll be third down.
10 seconds to go in the game, so let's see what we got here. And we're going to have a timeout being called by Oxford. Get one timeout per quarter, and they'll take this one with 6 seconds left and try to see if they can score. I know the Minor folks, Mickey, they lost a lot of folks. They lost their coach. They had a lot of great success last year, and they're going to see this score. And getting beat 20-0, if Oxford can score here, it may be worse than that. But I don't think there's reason for Minor to hit the panic button, because if you watch this game, the talent's there. And as we said, if they can go to some 7-on-7 camps and pull things together this summer, they're in a tough region. They'll have to be hot right out of the gate in that region that they play in Class 6A Region 6. But the pieces are in place. You can tell that. They've got a big, massive offensive line, defensive front, great speed on defense. And they got a good running back. I think the quarterback will come along and be developed. Once they get Evans back at wide receiver, I think Minor's going to be okay.
So most likely one final play left in this one. Higgins passes away and it's incomplete. Quick pass, so there's still 3 seconds left. It was intended for Caden Higgins.
With 2 seconds left, I think Oxford that time trying to make something happen, get out in the flat, see if he could break a few tackles, maybe get to the end zone or get out of bounds. But this one, they may loft this one in the end zone with a couple of seconds left. See what kind of arm Mr. Higgins has here.
Looks like Titus Lindsay's checked back in the game. Haven't seen him since the first quarter. Third down and 9. Higgins does air it out deep, and it's incomplete. I think the ball just hung up there a little bit too long. It was intended for Rock Taylor, the freshman, and that'll be the final play of the game as Oxford defeats Minor in a battle of two outstanding 6A programs from the northern part of the state. They win it 20-0. We'll try to get a word with both coaches when we come back here with our live coverage of the Gridiron Challenge.
The moment rain hits the ground, it begins a journey through your neighborhood. Along the way, this storm water encounters a lot of harmful stuff, including excess fertilizer, yard clippings, motor oil, even pet waste. Water then carries these pollutants into the storm drain and directly into the nearest river, lake, or stream, polluting our waterways. Visit cleanwatercampaign.com for more. Help be a solution to water pollution.
When it comes to great tasting barbecue, nobody does it better than Dad's Barbecue. Dad's Barbecue is slow hickory cooked to perfection, and Dad's menu includes a wide selection of popular items such as our smoked chicken sandwich, ribs, salads, and the best chicken fingers in town. And Dad's offers fresh homemade hamburgers and hand-dipped ice cream shakes. Dad's utilizes the latest technology to ensure that your orders are always accurate and hot out of the kitchen. Family owned and operated since 1985, Dad's Barbecue, with 2 locations in Anniston to serve you.
Hi, this is Kevin Riggin with the all-new Tameron Honda in Gadsden.
We're excited to be one of the newest and fastest growing Honda dealers in Central Alabama. And with every new Tameron Honda, you get a 250,000-mile powertrain guarantee. I've personally been serving Central Alabama for over 25 years with all your Honda needs. Come see me today or check out our website at TameronHondaGadsden.com. Tameron Honda in Gadsden, where you're going to love the way you're treated.
I got back my Smack Talk touchdown, hole-in-one, three-point home run, hat-trick pavement-pounding, record-setting goal across the finish line. Because Core didn't give up, I didn't give up. And I certainly didn't give in. I'm going to get back to doing what I love. I'm going to get back to winning.
And you know, John, one of the things I love about coming to JSU Stadium from where we sit in the press box is the outstanding views that you have, especially as the sun begins to set. And what an outstanding shot there above JSU Stadium here on a beautiful afternoon here in Jacksonville.
And Mickey, one of the things I like about spring football is apparently you can just make up the rules as you go along. We're apparently going to play another quarter of football, unbeknownst to us, between Oxford and Minor.
Our understanding is that the backups, JV if you will, for both teams will now come out and play an extra quarter.
So we flashed up 20-0 the final. I guess that will be the final for the varsity. But we are going to play another. They have 12 minutes on the clock, so we're going to play apparently another quarter of football here between Oxford and Minor with all backups here.
Hopefully our rosters will be accurate as we try to get you the correct names. A new quarterback from Minor, number 8, Brent White, and there you see number 27 on the handoff, Corey Ware.
Our very own Carl Brady working the PA on this game here at JSU Stadium, and he says, apparently we're going to play another quarter of football.
Just like we did.
So I don't think he knew either. But hey, Mickey, folks that know me well, this is A-OK with me. More football, the better, especially since we're not going to get any more football after these events are over next Saturday. We're not going to get any more football till late August, so I'm good with it.
Take a little summer break and then get right back to another football season. And got a quick timeout here by Minor. Well, we've got a penalty, a delay of game. Minor coaches arguing that they got the timeout call, but now they are going to award them the timeout and bring the football back up to the 34. So they wave off the penalty flag.
Kick.
Well, John, it is an opportunity for both teams to get some of their younger underclassmen or out on the field, some experience in this environment. And not sure if the next two games will follow the same flow, but we will just see how they go. But coming up after this game, you'll have Anniston and Tyner Academy out of Tennessee. Then our third game tonight is New Hope and Boaz. We're here for all three games, live coverage right here on TV 24.
And if you're wondering, why are you playing on Thursday night? Well, the forecast for tomorrow is an 80% chance of rain tomorrow, an 80% chance tomorrow night. So trying to avoid the rain. Then we'll have another full lineup of games on Saturday. The rain will be out of here by then.
Second down and 11. And once again, it's number 27, Corey Ware, on the carry. And he picks up a first down out at the 39. One thing I'm not sure about, I know in the past sometimes when they've done this, they've allowed this extra third quarter to be a running clock, but I'm not sure what they're doing here. We'll just have to kind of observe and see what the two coaches decided to do.
Only one timeout per quarter, so Minor has already used their timeout, so they can't stop it again. Oxford has their one timeout left.
So White gets the pass away, and it is incomplete, intended for Freddy Billings. And as we see, it looks as though, well, the clock was running, and now they've stopped the clock. So
Alan Gilbert out there talking to the officials, and apparently that may have been one of the things they were talking about is, do we have another timeout because teams are coming over here to the sidelines. Be a change of possession. I guess they'll stop it on the change of possession. That was an incomplete pass, and they ran the clock for about 6 or 8 seconds, and then they stopped it. But I guess they will have a running clock except when they change possession. This is in effect a 35-yard punt here. And then I'm like you, Mick. I think we'll have a running clock, but not on change of possession.
So Oxford will get it back offensively at the 26. And Higgins will remain in at quarterback.
Higgins, in that last drive of quarter number 2, has some good moments there. Good looking prospect there at quarterback. You say he's a freshman. And looks like maybe the quarterback, the next in line for the Oxford Yellow Jackets. And Oxford fans anxious to get a good look at him in action.
And first down carry for the Jackets. Number 26, Cameron Reynolds, upcoming sophomore, on his first carry of the game. Hard running, gain of about 4 yards up to the 30.
Beautiful day here at JSU. As you mentioned, Mickey, kickoff temperature was about 84 degrees. Feels like outside, we've got the windows open here. A little southwest breeze blowing in. Feels like it's about 79, 80 degrees out there right now. Kind of the weather that they would expect to see maybe in August, maybe a little more humid in August.
Good play by Amir Bell. There you see number 1. Minor defender came up and met Reynolds and stopped him in his tracks for no gain, maybe even a loss of a yard.
I have to wonder here, and maybe Gerhard can do some investigative work on the Minor sidelines, but there is a number 12 for Minor that we have seen have some action. His name is Freddy Billings.
I know, I saw that, yes.
I'm thinking, is this the Freddy Billings that played at Alabama? Maybe Gerhard can track that down. Obviously not him, but is he related? Is this a son, or is this a relative of Freddy Billings that played at Alabama? It's just too unique of a name.
Pass to Booker was incomplete. Looked like a good throw by Higgins. That stops the clock with 8:11. Still not sure if it's a running clock because we're in a change of possession here. Well, now it started back running.
Well, they changed it they stopped it on the last change of possession. This change of possession, they're keeping it running. So, folks, we would like to say that we are way above you in our knowledge of the rules of this particular quarter, but I have to confess we are not.
Now it's stopped.
I guess that's the punt. So in the punt, the clock runs during the punt.
Okay, there you go.
It's a simulated punt, as Carl Brady just said.
And there's number 12 for Minor. John was just talking about him. His name on the roster is Freddy Billings.
Gerhard is on the Minor sideline, and I think he's over there to check it out.
He's on top of it, so we'll see. If it is, it's obviously pronounced Billings.
Right now, Minor, to tell you how they only had 3 offensive linemen out. Finally, they've got 5.
And getting most of the workload here in this third quarter for Minor has been number 27, Corey Ware. Short gain that time, maybe a yard to the 37.
And when you get to these young guys playing, it's understandable that you can wind up, you say, how can they wind up with only 3 offensive linemen? These are a lot of guys, folks, that probably have never played a football game in their life. They probably have some guys out there like that, and they're here on television. They're up on the Jumbotron. They're playing in a college stadium, and it's understandable that you might not know where you are exactly supposed to be at any given point.
2nd down and 9. White looking to throw. Dodging pressure now, and will be sacked back at the 32 as the Oxford defensive pressure finally caught up to him. Number 37, Sonny Garman, there to help finish him off.
Garman's been all over the field in this quarter for Oxford. Good pursuit by the Oxford defense, not giving up on the play, just continuing to hunt him down and track him down and get the sack finally.
So 3rd down and 13. There you see White coming in from the sideline with the play.
Really a nice crowd here, especially here on the Oxford side. It's a little deceiving because this stadium is so big and seats 25,000, but there's a large contingent here on this home side. I think a combination of maybe some Anniston fans and obviously a lot of Oxford fans.
And the left-hander gets his pass away out of the backfield, complete. Into the flats, I should say. Number 86, Xavion Harris, taken out of bounds at the 40. And so, yes, it apparently clock continues to run even though he went out of bounds. But it is 4th down, so Minor will have to go for it or elect to punt, do the simulated punt, which is what they will do.
And during the simulated punt, we want to remind all of our regular loyal viewers to the Pigskin Roundup that we have our magazine that will be out again. That should be out about the week that the season starts in August. And by the way, kind of a scheduling quirk this year because they don't begin the first practice until the first Monday in August. That's late this year. It's not until August the 7th. So the season's starting a little bit late. So in the past couple of years, the season started around the 18th, 19th of August. This year, it's going to be more like the 24th, 25th of August, a week later. And right around that time frame, folks will be looking for our next edition of the Pigskin Roundup magazine that'll be out, and it'll have all the information you need on all of the teams, 37 teams of high school football here in East Alabama.
And I, for one, like the little bit later start myself.
I do too, yes.
And here is the pitch to Booker. And Booker darts across the 30. Gain of about 8, maybe 9. 2nd down and short coming up for Oxford.
That also means, Mickey, that the state playoffs will be running a week later. So the Super 7 in Tuscaloosa this year, normally that is the first weekend in December, right around before the SEC championship game. This year, that will be after the SEC championship game. Super 7 this year, I think, is not until December 7th and 8th this year. So that's running behind. And the state semifinals this year will be, actually state quarterfinals will be Thanksgiving weekend. The semifinals won't be till that first weekend in December.
2nd down and 2. Booker is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Good penetration that time by Minor's Ahmad Nelson. So now it'll be 3rd down after the Jackets lose a couple of yards on this play.
About the 33-yard line.
This is a great opportunity over today, Saturday, next Thursday, next Friday, next Saturday to check out high school football from top to bottom, from 1A through 7A, from teams from South Alabama, Central Alabama, North Alabama, all different classifications. You'll get a really good taste of high school football for 2017 coming up over the next 4 or 5 days.
And here is the give to Reynolds. I tell you, Oxford's got a pretty good looking stable of running backs. All of them are very fast and run with purpose, run very hard. As you can see, look inside our booth here, and that's a good looking run that time by another one of the Oxford backs.
You know, the thing about it is this is still a pretty young Oxford team. This is not a team loaded with a lot of seniors. You start looking at your quarterback and running backs. These are still underclassmen. Your best offensive linemen's an underclassman. This is still a relatively young Oxford team. That's the scary part about it. Even next year, they're going to be loaded again.
So 1st down for Oxford at the Minor 46. Higgins takes a shot just as he was trying to deliver the football. Number 46 Trevon Carter was bearing down on him from the backside.
Carter came untouched that time off the backside, hit him just as he threw the ball, was in motion. Good call by the officials there. Now 2nd down and 10 for Oxford as the clock is now stopped. So I thought we were on a running clock. We had an incomplete pass, and now we're stopped at 3:08. So each play, it seems to be a little bit different.
Higgins able to elude one defender and get the pass away to Booker. And Booker on his feet down inside the 30. I believe they'll credit Ladarius Evans with the tackle, but that was all on Higgins as he turned on the bootleg. He had a defender right in his face and was able to kind of get around the edge, buy himself some time, and deliver a strike.
Mickey Booker's another good-looking athlete.
Yes, he is.
Look at that catch and that run. And goes through 2 or 3 players and breaks tackles and gets up the sideline. We have the minor cheerleaders here, the Oxford cheerleaders here. I think that's the Boaz cheerleaders that are here. They're getting some pictures made in the stadium. It's the first time Boaz has played here at JSU in this event, so they're excited. A lot of folks coming down from Boaz today for their game coming up later on tonight.
And this time the Tigers wrap up Reynolds for a very short gain of a yard to the 28.
You and I will have that Boaz New Hope game, which should be interesting, coming up after the Anniston Tyner Academy Tennessee game. So still 2 more games coming up tonight here at JSU Stadium and live here on TV 24.
As we go under 2 minutes to play in this 3rd quarter that we did not know about. 2nd down, Higgins goes up top and pass too far. Intended there for number 86 for the Jackets. That is Maestrian Marshall.
Looks like we have another flag, and that's going to be an ineligible receiver downfield whistled on Oxford. I'm impressed with Higgins. I know he didn't make the connection that time, but he's made 2 really nice throws into the end zone at the end of the last quarter, and that throw right there, even though not exactly making the connection certainly, but good looking arm there. And this guy's not had many opportunities in game situations to throw like that. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of talent coming up with this younger crew from Oxford, as you can see as well.
Penalty decline. And the Yellow Jacket mascot even in attendance today. Yeah, you mentioned the crowd. Very good showing by the Oxford community here today. It was kind of a tough start, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, school's still going on and folks at work, and able to get the band here. And Higgins, pass is high, intended for Gavin Lindsay.
Well, after last season, going 10-0, winning a region championship, and then with all that you had coming back, and then the way they have looked today, I think all these Oxford fans that are spread out in front of us here at Burgess Snow Field, I don't know how they couldn't be excited about the 2017 season coming up. This is a team that's probably, and when the first poll comes out in August, this is probably going to be a team that I would think is probably going to start the season, Mickey, ranked top 5 in the state in 6A if I was guessing.
Yes, I agree. So 4th down, Oxford will go for it at the minor 28. Higgins to the air again, and this one is picked off by Roderick Rutledge. And Rutledge with a return all the way out to the 48. And guess what? A penalty flag.
I think that's going to be a block in the back on the return. I'm not sure, but that's what it looked like. There was a very close block in the back there. And finally, somebody intercepted a pass. We had about 3 or 4 passes that were dropped by both Oxford and Minor. Finally, someone was able to snag an interception. We'll see what the call is. And I'll be shocked if it's not a block in the back on the return.
So our game times are obviously thrown off a bit. If you're tuning in expecting to see Aniston and Tyner, we're going to be a good bit behind this evening.
And it is a block in the back, by the way, Mickey. Was the call against Minor.
Let's see what Gerhardt's got down on the field.
John Holder, you are a keen observer of the human condition, my friend. The number 12 that you refer to for Minor is Freddy Billings III. He is Freddy Billings' son, as you referred to earlier. He used to play at Alabama, had a fantastic career down on the Tide. So yes, they are kin, a direct son. Freddy Billings III, number 12 for Minor, also a playmaker for the Tenacious Tigers. Guys.
All right, nice work, Gerhardt.
Thank you, Gerhard. Nice investigative work over there. Had a hunch. And there's Freddy Billings III. Did not know that Freddie was in the Birmingham area, but apparently he is. And that's the next Freddy Billings. Most folks remember Freddy Billings from that '99 SEC championship game against Florida when he took that direct snap from the quarterback and went 77 yards for a touchdown. One of the iconic plays in SEC championship game history. And that's his son right there playing for Minor.
And he's in the game now on 2nd down and 10. Once again on the carry, it is Corey Ware able to turn the corner, and Oxford unable to get him down before he makes some good forward progress with a lot of second effort out across the 30. He'll be a yard short of a first.
It'd be good if Coach Graves would maybe run that play. Maybe run that play with Freddy Billings III. Let him run that direct snap and come this way. And I'd like to see that here at JSU Stadium.
Yeah, I'm with you. When I looked down and saw that name on the roster, that was immediately what went through my head.
There can't be two Freddy Billings.
3rd down and a yard. Ware again gets the call. Trying to get outside, and he can't do so. Nice play defensively by Jalen Booker. And that should be the final play of the game, and it is. So the younger players here in the 3rd quarter, the JV, no points put on the board. Oxford will win this one 20-0 over the Minor Tenacious Tigers, as both teams will shake hands at the 50-yard line. Nice work by both teams. I think a very productive outing here in the spring for two of the top programs in Class 6A. Long way to go before we kick it off in August, but I think we saw enough for sure from this Oxford team to really think Oxford is going to be a force to be dealt with in 6A, especially in the north. They came out firing on all cylinders here with really nice play. They kind of overloaded the right side with 3 receivers, pitched it back to Lindsey, who took it in for the touchdown. Then Lindsey completing the 2nd Oxford drive of the game with his short touchdown run. So Lindsey with 2 touchdown runs in the 1st quarter. And then here we see a big pass completion for Minor, but unfortunately for the Tigers, it was brought back due to a penalty. One of the few big plays they had offensively in the entire game, as the Oxford defense really showed up big time today as well. Gerhard down on the field.
Guys, I'm here with both head coaches. We'll start with Coach Graves with the Minor Tigers. First off, Coach, let's go back to the beginning of spring. This is your first spring here as the head coach with the Tigers. Talk about what you saw out of your guys.
Well, I saw some kids fight. I saw a lot of improvements we need to make, and it's going to be a long, grinding summer. It's going to be a long, grinding summer. I appreciate the opportunity of Jacksonville State. Appreciate Coach from Oxford and their team. They did a great job, and they really gave us the fuel to go ahead and work hard in the summer.
Absolutely. As you start to put some of the things in your off-season program that you want to implement, talk about some of the things that will be a part of the next few months as you prepare for August.
Hard in the weight room, man, and we're going to continue to go hard with the kids. We're going to continue to go ahead and push them to the limit to get every little ounce of goodness out of them, and we're not going to stop till we get it.
Absolutely. Good luck, Coach, and we'll see you down the road. All right, first from Coach Graves, now to Coach Herring. Do a little bit of coaching just a bit ago, and then now you got a chance to talk about your team's performance today. Looked good in the first half, really came out executing well, especially on offense. Talk about your team's performance.
Yeah, we were worried about offense because we had to place 4 offensive linemen, and real proud of what they did out there. The kids got after hard. I thought we hit on both sides of the ball, and that's really all we wanted to see was people run into each other, and they did that. So, I'm happy with it.
When everybody turns the tape back, they'll see both running backs, both Titus Lindsay and Cantrell, both had great games. Talk about their progress from last year until this point.
Well, Rich Cantrell's had a great offseason. I mean, he's worked harder than anybody in the program in the offseason, so I was expecting him to have a good night. Of course, Titus was solid last year, so we were expecting Titus to be solid again this year. And both of them had a great night, and they had some great blocking in front of them.
Absolutely. Lay out what the next few months will look like as you get your guys ready for, this is obviously the last time you'll actually hit another team before August.
Well, we got to get a lot sharper, a lot of stuff on offense. Defensively, we just got to mental and physical toughness. That's all the summer's all about for us, just mental, physical toughness, learning what you do, and just learning your job and learn how to do it.
Absolutely. Great job, Coach.
Thank you.
Team looked good today. That's Coach Graves and Coach Herring. Both were there, guys. And, guys, back to you.
All right, thanks, Gerhard. Gerhard will now make his way up to the booth. He and Carl Brady will have the call of the Anniston-Tyner Academy game coming up next. You see both of those teams out on the field getting warmed up for the game. And you heard Coach Herring talk about with Gerhard about those two running backs, Titus Lindsay and Richard Cantrell. Some big plays for the Oxford offense. So as we go to break, here's a look at Richard Cantrell, the run of the year, and the year hasn't even started, John.
10 guys from Minor had a shot at him. I tell you what, this is a spring game, and he'll keep a copy of this. There's no doubt about that.
John and I will be back with you in the final game with New Hope and Boaz. Carl and Gerhard next as we welcome in Anniston and Tyner Academy here at the Gridiron Challenge.